I love to give people the cheat code. I would love to say to people, our number one win is to start with an employee. It's the very first paycheck. They don't know what to do. We get them set up. We help them build their credit score. We help them reduce debt. We help them save. And then one day when they want to get a mortgage, maybe they come see us because we've been helping them for 10 years.
So welcome back, everyone. Thanks for being here once again. I'm your host, Greg Coyne, with the MISHRM Resource Partners Podcast. And once again, I have a great guest. It is Scott Dobson. He is the Consumers at Work Manager. He's with Consumers Credit Union here in Kalamazoo, and we're at this great facility doing some podcasts today, and want to thank you all for being here. And Scott, want to thank you for being here as well.
Well, thanks for having me.
So here's something I had to ask, and I was joking with you a little bit before we got started today. And one, I want to know what Consumers does as a credit union, but I also want to know what you do based especially around your job title. So why don't you fill in the viewers and myself on both of those?
Sure, I'll back up a little bit. Consumers Credit Union, formed in 1952 by 6 volunteer people at Consumers Energy. So they got together and said, hey, we can do better than the big banks if we save together and borrow together. So that was, of course, before my time. But I started with the credit union about 15 years ago, and I worked purely with businesses. I was our business services manager.
Nice.
But I had a meeting with our CEO, who is a very visionary guy, and we were talking about our local businesses and how we could do more for them. And we really kind of, the conversation got back around to where we started, which was a group of people helping a group of employees. And he said, maybe we should get back to that, to like, if we're really trying to help our businesses, the number one need, the number one asset that every business has is employees. If we can help their employees, we can help the business. So from that, we developed Consumers at Work, which is exactly that. We go out to employees' places of work, and we help them just like credit unions used to do in the olden days. For a long time, we only helped employees of Consumers Energy, Consumers Credit Union. Now we can do that with any business that's in our footprint in Michigan. So as the Consumers at Work Manager, I help a team go out into the field, go directly into businesses and help with onboarding new employees, making sure that they're happy with their paycheck, and providing financial wellness solutions to that employee group for the duration of their employment.
I love it. And I know that, from dealing with a lot of different HR topics, I mean, obviously, as we're both members of MISHRM, that's a huge thing. I know that for you, I have to guarantee it that within the credit union and within HR, financial wellness is a big topic. And so I'm kind of curious, because I know you as at Consumers are doing a lot with that. Can you elaborate? What are some things that you're doing with regards to financial wellness? Yeah,
financial wellness is kind of like wellness, right? It's a very big topic, and it has a lot of facets. So we really had to drill down, and actually when I started the program, the first thing I did was went out and met with HR managers and said, what is financial wellness to you? How can we help your employees? What should we do to make sure that your employees feel financially well? We tried to come up with a metrics, and the first metric we came up with was, are they investing in their 401k? And we're like, oh, that's great. We'll go talk to employees, and with the goal of getting them to invest in their 401k. It was a great idea. I went out for a year and talked till I was blue in the face, and I'd run into so many employees who said, I love what you're saying. I should invest in my 401k. You're totally right. I can't do it with my next paycheck, though, because I don't have enough money. And so after a year of that, I went back to the HR managers and said, the problem is not that your employees don't want to invest in their 401k. They don't have a process to get through it. So when we talk about financial wellness, we go to the source of how do big employee groups, how do you get the most of your employees to be able to do the best with their paycheck? There's so many employees that get their paycheck and they don't really have a strategy to do anything. They try to get to their next paycheck. I mean, about 70% of the population is really just trying to get to their next paycheck. And if you're trying to make it 2 weeks out, you have a 2-week time frame, you have a 2-week schedule, you have a 2-week budget, you can never plan ahead and save 5% to buy a house.
Sure.
You can never worry about an emergency savings account because you're just trying to get to next Friday. So what we really try to do is help employees get over that hump. We come in and give them real life hands-on strategies to say, here comes your paycheck next Friday. Let's put some systems in place to help you do what you want with that paycheck. Understand where your money's going, and take control of it. That's what we really try to get employees to do. So many employees get their paycheck and they don't feel like they're in control of it. They've got a pile of bills. They can't do anything about making any more money. They can't do anything about these bills. They never have enough money. I mean, we've all heard of lots of people that say, I just don't have enough money.
Yeah.
And we found that the real troublesome part is people don't have a strategy to do the right thing with every single paycheck.
Right.
So that's what we really do is emphasize, you're going to get a paycheck next Friday. What do we do with that? How do you take control of it? And how can you take more of the money that just disappears into bills and overdraft fees and high interest rates and turn that into money that you can have and use to better your life?
I love that because, like we said, this is a very, very big topic. It's broad. And unfortunately, my question will probably seem broad because each individual couple person is different and you treat them that way, and I get that.
Yep.
So it's going to be a bit of a difficult question to say, all right, so if you've got someone that's watching this podcast and they're in that zone and where they're like, all right, I want to save, I know I need to save, what would you recommend as their first step? I know putting it in the 401k is what you would say, but what's the number one next step to start building that strategy?
Yeah, the thing is to look at your next paycheck and determine what you're going to do with that money before it comes in.
Okay.
That's the number one thing that you do. So when we start with paycheck budgeting, it's as simple as your rent's $1,000, you get paid twice a month. Let's take $500 from your first paycheck and put it into a special savings account.
Yeah.
We'll take $500 from your next paycheck, put it into a special savings account, and on the first of the month, have that savings account pay your rent for you. So automatically, just like health insurance, right?
Yeah.
As HR managers, you don't allow your employees to pay their own health insurance premiums, right? Why? Because they wouldn't get paid. Like people, I had something come up, I couldn't pay it this week, right? But health insurance premiums are important. Where you live is important too.
Sure.
I would say just as important as paying your health insurance premiums. So we do the same thing. Let's take it out of, all right, I got my paycheck and I need to decide, am I paying my rent? Am I paying my car payment? To, all right, my check's coming next Friday. I'm saving $500 for rent. I'm saving $250 for my car payment. I'm saving $125 for my insurance. The rest of it goes on my debit card, and that's what I have to buy gas and groceries and go to the bar. So we start with simple strategies like that, and we come in and we help employees face to face. We can do a podcast to employees, but if we don't come in and say, this is how you do it, this is exactly when, here's how, we'll set up the automatic payments, that's the real differentiator, is we are there and we're hands-on, and employees are like, all right, if you're gonna walk me through it, I'll do it right now.
Nice.
And once they stop worrying about paying their house payment on time, once it's set up automatically, like the money automatically moves over and the payment's automatically made, that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And once then we work on that, right? You got your main things. Now let's save. Maybe we'll set up another account. We'll save a little bit of money. Eventually, our goal is to get the employee where payday is a good day. They get it. They know where their money's going. They're paying off debt. They've got money to do with what they want. And those employees are good employees. They're not looking for another job.
Yeah.
They're not upset with HR that they don't make $1 an hour more. It's working for them, right? So that makes a better employee. They feel better about their lives. The number one stressor in America is payments over time. It's the number one thing that stresses Americans out. So we try to take that away. Obviously, you're going to have payments over time.
Sure.
But if we can set it up on an automatic schedule where you're not worried about it and your paycheck is taking care of it for you, you're a happier employer. And if you're a happier employer, it helps the business for sure.
Well, I love hearing this because what I think a lot of times HR professionals, people in general, and I've talked to numerous guests about this, in that you're in the sales department. Okay, and people, I joke with people all the time. I say, sales is not a 4-letter word.
Yep.
But the fact is that your passion comes out in trying to help people and be able to get people to buy into the strategies that are going to help them.
Yeah.
I see a lot of inspiration from that. And so a couple things. First question is, number one, what inspires you? But number two is, how do you, well, why don't we go back? I'll get the inspire first. Why don't we do this? What's the first hurdle or the biggest hurdle that you have to get through to HR and employees alike to say, hey, Scott's looking out for my best interests. Yes, he's in sales, but the fact is that he's looking to help us. What's kind of that first hurdle get past?
I'm super fortunate that I work for an organization that has the philosophy that we do, that we are here to help our membership and to help the financial wellness of our neighbors. So
cool.
My mindset, and I think the best thing about what I get to do is, if it's not a win for HR, if we can't help their employee base and make their employees more productive and happier that they're there, and it's a win for HR, we shouldn't work together. If we're not helping the employees do better with their paycheck, be more satisfied with every paycheck, increase their credit score, reduce their debt, if we're not able to do those things for an employee group, we shouldn't work together. And finally, if I and my team are not bringing in good members to the credit union, our job is to add more good members to the credit union. And a good member, our regular member, is someone who gets paid every other Friday and either has a mortgage or wants a mortgage and pays that every month on time. So we want to educate, by educating the employees, they become good members. And by becoming good members, that's good for our other membership. That's good for me. It's good for the HR team. So I get to sell a win-win-win. If it gets to be a win for HR, it gets to be a win for the employees, and that's a win for our membership. So that's really an awesome position to be in.
Yeah.
And because we're just here to help, I don't have to have an immediate payback. I don't have to go into a company and say, hey, boy, I gotta sell something here or else we can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
We know, we've been around since the 50s. If we do the right thing consistently for a long period of time, it will become a win for us. And our number one win is to start with an employee. It's their very first paycheck. They don't know what to do. We get them set up. We help them build their credit score. We help them reduce debt. We help them save. And then one day when they want to get a mortgage, maybe they come see us because we've been helping them for 10 years. So that's our sales process. We don't have to charge HR anything. We don't charge anything to companies for our services. We don't have a contract. I say, if you don't think we're helping you out, just kick us out, because we don't have any contract to stay there. So it makes life very easy for me as a salesperson who's really just trying to get our message across that we can help. And that's the selling I do, is getting our message across.
Well, I love it, because I'm a huge proponent that sales is about win-win opportunities. And the fact is that all three of you said it, Scott, the employee, the HR departments, and yourself and consumers, the success of all three are tied together. If one of those falls down, the other two have to pick it up, or it doesn't work. And I think that's a key component to everybody's success. I mean, you're all putting yourselves on the line, so to speak, to be successful. And there's a good risk reward in that. I love that. So let me go back. I mentioned it a few minutes ago. So this whole idea of being able to help others, to be able to help the HR departments and the employees, it's passionate, it's inspiring. So what inspires you on a regular basis?
I think I love to give people the cheat code. I would love to say to people, I
love it.
Look, here's the simple, easy way. And I know it's a cheat code because I did it myself. When I talk about people that, they got their paychecks and then look at their stack of bills and they figure out what to do and they're stressed about it. That was totally me for years and years and years. And I knew better. I mean, my dad is a certified financial planner. He taught me about personal finance my whole life. And I'm like, if I can't get my own personal finances together, how on earth is anyone else doing it? So this, we developed the cheat code. We developed have your paycheck on autopilot to make sure that your house payment is paid. And once I got that figured out, did it myself, stopped worrying every payday, eventually stopped even knowing which Friday was payday Friday. The amount of stress that was reduced in my personal life, I want to share that with other people. And it's not pie in the sky. You don't have to make $100,000. You don't have to do, and you can just decide to do it. And it's not hard, but it's not taught out there to college graduates. It's not taught. I did a class once. The HR manager came up afterwards. It was a bunch of 19 to 22-year-old factory kids and the college degree HR manager. And she came up and she's like, I've been stressing about HR for the last 9 years and I've had no strategy. Thank you. And it's not about being smart or anything. It's just about I've been focused on one thing. So we have a great strategy for it. HR managers are awesome at being HR managers, and CNC operators are great at being CNC operators. It doesn't mean they've got their personal finances figured out. And it seems for those that do, like there are some people that, they just haven't figured out, but that wasn't me. That's not my natural. I don't want to look at my checking account all the time. I just want the stuff taken care of, and I want money to enjoy the weekends, kind of thing. So if I can get that to other people, it really makes me feel good that they're like, I've got it figured out and I'm not stressed anymore. I'm like, high five. Yes.
I love hearing it because, you've heard this saying, I'm sure others have heard this online before. What you're describing is simple, not always easy. And one of the biggest things you mentioned was just that people haven't really thought about it. They haven't been trained on it. One of the things that I talk to any of our clients on is the fact of, I grew up in a middle-class blue-collar household. My dad worked at Ford for 40 years. Like many other people, I did not know what my parents made until I started filling out financial aid forms. Okay? And it's not something that we are trained as humans to talk about. As a matter of fact, it goes quite the opposite. Don't talk about money. It's rude. But financial wellness, this is forcing people to do just that, which is a great thing. And I think people, if nothing else from this conversation and those people watching it, I really hope that they hear that. And that is, it's important to have your financial means in order, to take away the stress that is probably eating you up inside and do simple things that can help execute just getting you over the finish line, whether that's retirement, whether that's, as you said, saving for a house, getting a mortgage payment, putting all those things together, and you help them do that. I love it. So let me ask, Scott, what is a great way for HR professionals, employees, anyone to be able to reach out and connect with you?
On our website, you could email me directly.
Okay, so how do they do that?
Scott.Dobson@consumerscu.org.
Love it.
Is my email address. You can go to our website, consumerscu.org, and find me there. Call my cell phone, 269-567-8693. We work with first, second, and third shift companies, so my team and I are used to being at places at 2 in the morning or 7 in the morning or 11 at night. So that makes the job more interesting. So contact me however, or I'm at every MISHRM event that I can get to. So you can flag me down there and buy me a beer.
I love it. Sold. I love it. Scott, thank you so much for being here. Again, folks, Scott Dobson, reach out if you have the need, and I would say everyone has a need for that financial wellness, and for lack of a better way of saying it, financial wellness checkup. Seek Scott out. Again, Scott Dobson at Consumers CU, and thank you all for being with us today on the MISHRM Resource Partner Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Greg Coyne. Until next time, thanks, and have a good one, everyone.